Okay, so now we're on the ideal team player section, and I'm going to spend a little bit more time here. You see, there are certain things that people do that make them far better teammates, and they help the team grow. And this is, in my opinion, extremely important. Okay, so you can, yes, you can hold the mouse over the question mark, and it'll tell you about what that section is. You'll usually be able to click on it and get something else to read about it. But let's just talk about them for a little bit. First one is give useful feedback. Uh, there are right and wrong ways to give feedback to someone, and everyone needs to be able to give feedback. If you can't tell someone what they're doing wrong, you have no justification in expecting them to do it right the next time. All right? It becomes your fault that they're doing it wrong because you're not giving them any feedback. It's absolutely necessary to give good feedback, and there are classes available to you online through this organization or other places to learn how to give useful feedback. In generalities, give an FBI, that stands um, uh, for feelings, behavior, and impact. Okay. There is stop, start, continues. There are good ways to give feedback. Learn to use them, learn to do it well. Now, I almost put this one first and probably should have, but receive feedback, even if it's poorly given. You cannot do better. You cannot grow if when somebody gives you some feedback, you don't like it. You get defensive, you say you're worried about who's blaming who, those types of things. And when you can receive feedback and actually listen and say, okay, what could have I done better or differently or something along those lines? If you can receive that feedback, even when the person gives it poorly, you've tripled your chances, maybe quadrupled the amount of input you have into your life and how you can do better. It is so valuable to not be upset when people tell you what or ask you questions. You can't grow if you get upset. So don't do it. All right? Those two are so key, and your organization has to be good at it. Everyone in it. You can't be an ideal team player if you don't give and receive feedback well. And if people are afraid to give you feedback, it's a huge problem. And quite honestly, it's your fault. You're doing something wrong. Okay, follow procedures and use tools as expected. If you don't do this, if you want to do things your own way, you want to do things differently, even if the tools you're given or the procedures you're giving you don't feel are optimal, so you go off on your own way, what you're really doing is you're showing up as the person on that rowing team who wants to use his own oar. And it's a different length and it's different than everybody else's. And if you do that, you guarantee that that boat is going to have a difficult time going straight because it it simply is using a different equipment. It and that applies to processes, tools, whatever it may be. Everyone using the same suboptimal tool is so much more effective than everyone using their own perfect tools for them. That's just the way it is. And using things the same way, it's the only way to make that boat go straight. Okay, stay motivated and motivating others. It's really an attitude question, but you're responsible to be upbeat most of the time. And you have a great deal of control over it. And if something has to change, you need to tell people how or what that is. You need to give feedback. But one way or another, you have to motivate yourself. And if you're not motivated, there's an issue. Okay? And you need to help motivate others. And that's usually by being upbeat and motivated yourself. You could reword this question: did I have a great attitude or not? And but this is really a little bit better because it makes it clear you need to be motivated and you need to motivate others. Okay, how do you handle relationships and communications? We all need to get along with each other, and we, there are people who, they just want to come do their job and be left alone, and I understand, and sometimes that is needed for short periods of times. And sometimes that person's so good at their job that they may be tolerated in an organization, but that's not in general anywhere near ideal for the team. In a team, people get together, they care about each other, they talk to each other, and they connect. All right. And some people are good at communicating, some people aren't, but you can learn to be better. There are a lot of resources out there about that. All right. And the last one is pursue personal and professional growth. Okay. If you're not growing, you're basically going to be the same person 5 years from now that you are today. And one, that's not an example you want to set for your teammates or your children or people at home or anything. We all want and need to grow for all the rest of our lives. If you're not going forward, you're going backward. Um, and this, your organization's going to change. The people around you are going to change. The tools, things like cell phones, look how much they've changed in your lifetime already. You need to grow. And the more better a person is at this, the more valuable they are as a teammate, and the more ideal they are as a teammate. So those are the things that make up an ideal team player. And just rate yourself candidly again on them and talk about them with your supervisor. These are great things to ask other people about. Okay, don't be afraid of that. And then put your comments in. What do you think you could do better? How others could help you do better? Just like every other section. Thank you.